Receiving a text message from my mate that would kickstart this new project, could I print the ships from the Battlestar Galactica fleet for him? This meant replacing his little cardboard cutouts from his game, Last Light. Of course, I was happy to do it, but under one small condition. I'd print him out one fleet of the Battlestar Galactica fleet, and the other 3 fleets I could design and build myself. And with no time or financial burden on his shoulders, his response was yes. Turning to my usual places to hunt down ideas for this fleet, I soon came across something that I felt would work for the first fleet. So I've come across these ships, and the first one that sort of stood out to me was this one. This is an old drawing done by Sparth, a wonderful artist, but it was the color that sort of stood out to me. I thought, you know what, this is a great representation. It's going to be something that's going to get us away from those sort of darker, monochromatic kind of colors you typically find in spaceships. So I like this for the color. It was something that I found first, like, awesome. I also really like the kind of the bottom part of the nose, so I think that's maybe something I want to try and incorporate. But, as an interceptor for the starting ship, I like some of these shapes here. This one in particular, I just love the way the wings are sticking out the side. Forgive me, I'm not aware of the artist who did this, so if it is you, give a shout out and I'll drop your names in the credits. But I love this drawing. Lots of going on here. Really nice, clean shapes and easy ones to work with. And then these ones here, I'm kind of leaning towards whether it's going to be the cruiser, the dreadnought. I think there's a lot of nice shapes and silhouettes. And again, the under sort of nose part, I really like that. Kind of reminds me of this ship here. I just want to kind of get something in there from a silhouette that's going to give us nice lines to look at. And I think these collections here are going to be good. I just want to keep it simple and use these as my main source of inspiration. With that, we're off flying with the interceptor. Now, I want to give myself a 2-hour limit for this one because I don't want to spend too much time fussing over detail, and sometimes pulling yourself into a time constraint is the great way to focus and double down on the work and don't get bogged down with insignificant details that just waste time. Well, here we are. Our interceptor is complete and I'm pretty happy with the results overall. I didn't copy the reference exactly, I just wanted to use it as my main source of inspiration. But there were just a lot of shapes in that initial design that I did enjoy and I just tried to maintain. But yeah, I'm very happy with the result. Again, that 2-hour limit is something that's very useful. With that, let's move on to our next ship. Moving on to the mighty Dreadnought, I'm going to try and do the same thing again and give myself a 2-hour window to see what I can get done in this space of time. All right, fingers crossed, let's do it again. Here we are, guys. We have our mighty Dreadnought complete, bristling with big guns, ready to roll those big 6s and start killing. I'm very happy with this ship, actually, the way it turned out. I love this little section here. Kind of in my mind, I'm sort of imagining this is where the smaller, maybe interceptors sort of fly into it, if that actually existed in the game. But yeah, I think this is a fun ship. It came out really well. And because I ended up losing a lot of time in the process, I ended up sort of completing the actual cruiser as well. And I tried to riff on ideas and details from both the interceptor and the dreadnought, kind of incorporating some of those elements. And yeah, I'm very happy with the results. So we'll get those printed and we can start to look at getting these things painted. After the grey primer pass, it was time to move on to the top white coat. And if you saw the last time I did the white coat on the mech, you will know how disastrous that went. Relieved that I haven't overthinned the paint this time, I immediately did some masking off camera to achieve a cool little racing stripe at the front. This meant I could roll onto the bright blood orange pass to give it that pop I felt it deserved. This next stage was simple: line up the ships and hit it with the airbrush. Of course, I forgot the air comes out of an airbrush and push the ships all over the place, but to me it was just a signal that they were roaring to get going and take off. Removing the mask, always satisfying. But because of how close I had to get the tape to the ship to have a clean, even spray, this meant I didn't have any dangly bit to grab when pulling it off the tape. So why not pull out a sharp needle instead to maximize my chances of scratching the paint? With the ships having survived the sharp pointy needle, it was time to bring out the details. Starting with the engines, a nice dark grey was the perfect colour to complement the bright blood orange, and I spent the next hour picking out the engines across all the ships. Moving on to my next accent colour, deck tan, I decided to drop a little bit of thinner into the bottle cap after a good shake, of course, and begin to pick out the details in the ships. Not having a real good solid plan here at this point, I felt like I would start with the small little side fins on the ships, and then over time, let the ships speak to me. Now, just look at that precision painting. Nice, clean, in the lines. Ugh, it's just beautiful. I even had to zoom in for you guys to show this, so you can see the footage here is a bit grainy, but it was a very important detail I wanted you to see because normally I'm all over the place. But I will say this. If you notice my tip of the paintbrush there, it's got a little bit of a swoop to it, and this is great. This kind of keeps it off the actual, the surrounding areas and just kind of curls it up away from me bumping into the next detail beside it. Satisfied with my accent colors, it was time to move into my favorite part of the process, and that's the pin wash. As usual, this just results in me trying to pick out all the details on the ship, trying to get a nice sort of even coat and making sure those crevices and details get a little bit of paint in them. And then of course going back over them with the white spirits, cleaning up all the dreaded mess that I've made, giving us a nice clean look at the end. Now, just look at the difference between the clean and the one with the pin wash. One down, 300 to go. After my successful pin wash on the interceptor, it was time to move on to the cruiser. And starting off with the top surface here, hitting out all the detail. Obviously you can see I'm very careful, but that's fine. I have my white spirits to go back over and clean it up and tidy it up and give it this nice sort of soft, dirty look. Oh, I just love it. And then hitting it with the Q-tip here to the front here, because just along the white strips, I wanted to kind of keep something a bit more cleaner and pristine. But yeah, look at the difference between the first one and the second one, just lovely. Now moving on to the Dreadnought. It's the same process here again, just hitting all the details and crevices, watching that the ink basically run across into those crevices. And very fine, the print itself is very small in detail. This is what I love about the pin wash. It just sort of travels into those crevices. But again, I'm quite messy with this stuff. But again, nothing that the white spirits can't fix and handle and get it cleaned up looking great. Now it's time for the final reveal. Guys, if you're like me and over many years you've just collected your models and prints but never actually painted them, I urge you, bust them out, put some paint on it. It doesn't matter if you make a lot of mistakes just like me. In the end, you always have fun. And now I'm also going to go back and do the orbital for this because not only will this be for First Light, but I also want to have these rolling these bad boys for Eclipse in the board game. So guys, until next time, stay tuned for the next fleet.